Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today, this is the set that I'm gonna work on. This is kind of how I drew it up. I'm gonna work on a better design. I'm gonna start trying to figure out Procreate soon to figure out my sets. But for now, I just take random pieces of manis that I find and I might like, and I just put them on here. Like this was one that I really liked, but I actually don't end up using any of that. So yeah, that's a wash. And then I end up basically doing this nail on this nail, and because the stripes just weren't looking right. Obviously, I'm not going to do torty print, but I really love this bow that I did on a recent set for fall. And then I really loved my flower that I did. So I'm going to do this bow. And then I really liked this right here. But instead of putting a B, I'm going to put my own initial, not my initial, but I'm going to put initials for my life. So yeah, that's just kind of like my inspo, rough inspo. And then I'm going to show you the set that I did because I did want to do one hand off camera just to make sure I liked how the idea kind of came together because this is a little sporadic. And yeah, I'm going to show you my one hand that I did and then I will do the other one on the video. So this is how the one hand turned out. I had my flash off or this light off because I was doing the video and it reflected weird. But here is the set. Let me see if I can put it to where I can see. There we go. This is how the set turned out. I really love how it turned out. I've got my bow. I think the bow is such a cool spot. Let me see if I can get it. If I zoom in a little bit, so you guys can see better. Yeah, there we go. This bow, I'm going to pick up this one. Turned out really, really cute. This is probably my favorite nail from the whole thing. And I've got a new phone that I'm working with for recording as well, so you gotta work with me on this video. But did some polka dots and yeah, just did a little bow with the hearts, kind of like how I did the other one that I showed you. But yeah, I love that. And then here is this nail. I did an A because my husband's name starts with an A. So yeah, there's that one. And then the flower turned out super cute as well. Super cute. It's got like a pearl gel that I used, a pearl sculpting clay that I used, and then the cat eye underneath. Then it's just a regular gel polish underneath. And then these two are just um, opposites of each other. I used one as the base and one as the top. These two are just opposites. They're the same thing. These polka dots about took me out. To get them the same size and stuff and spaced out, like, it was a lot. So, this is what we're going to be doing. This is the set together. And yeah, I really like it. I'm going to do it for Valentine's Day. So, we're going to do the same thing, but on the other hand, and I already have my, excuse me, I have my tips prepped because I wasn't sure if I was going to record it or not. But I have them prepped. I sized them out, I filed them to shape them to my cuticle, and then I filed the underside and I etched it a little bit so they'll be ready to apply when they're done. And then I'm going to go ahead and show you guys everything that I used because I did see a few people say that they liked when I did that on a previous video. So I'm going to show you all of my colors that I used and everything, and then we will get started. And I'm going to switch to a voiceover because y'all, that set took me, I think, like 3 or 4 hours to do. And yeah, I don't want to make this video that long. For the inside of the bow and the flower, these little dots, you can just do a dot, but I took one of these small pearls, like this size, the smallest size pearl, or like these two sizes are what I used, and I just colored them with this gel right here. And I also painted over the A. I used the hot jazz color. This is the color I used to paint over the dots, and then the A, it's a platinum pink gel polish from Bling Galleria. All of the gels are going to be from Bling Galleria. Here's my little swatch thing when I was trying to decide on colors. But I have these little letters And I picked two of them out. That one was like a rose gold, but shifted and reflected like a holographic, and I wasn't really liking that. So I found this pink one that kind of reflects like a little bit red. So I just colored over it so I didn't have to draw the letter. I kind of cheated there, but everything else is like hand drawn and hand sculpted and everything. But I'm gonna put a G on this other hand so that I can have both on there. But yeah, this was my little palette. This is how I kind of decide what colors I'm gonna use, what goes together, how I like everything. I just tear it off when I'm done and throw it in the trash or flip it over and use the other side. But these palettes are really good for helping me decide colors because it's white and all of that. All right. So I'm going to use the G from that palette. I told you how I did it with these pearls. It's just a pearl set from Amazon. They have really big ones, really small ones. It's just a nice little set. Came with two of these for like really inexpensive. All right, so I showed you the hot jazz color. That is a gorgeous color. Let me see if I can figure out how to turn the flash on. I can't figure it out on this one, on this phone, but I'll turn the flash on when I do it so I can show you guys. All right, and then for the base color for the under the stamp, I used this color Sheer Fantasy. It's a nice sheer color. I used 2 layers of this underneath the stamp with the initial. And this is Bling Galleria's new Ultra Gel Polish formula. This has no methacrylates in it. So here's everything that is in it. If you have a gel allergy, this new formula has is amazing. The Ultra formula, she switched over from her really good already HEMA-free, HPMA, TPO-free formula to one that included no methacrylates. So we've been having, I say we, but the owner has been having some people that have really severe allergies test out this formula, and they've been doing really well. So it would definitely be worth looking into if you have gel allergies. Just throwing that out there. But back to what we're using. Sheer Fantasy is the base color, and then on the ones with the flower and the bow, I put Mink My Way from the latest drop. It is a cat eye, and I just put one layer over top of that sheer color just to give it a little bit of sparkle underneath of um the bow and the flower. I just wanted a little bit of extra pizzazz like I had in my inspo picture that I made. And then the polka dots are made with these two colors. They are also the Ultra Formula, Cherry Glaze and Pink Nightie. These are one coat coverage. There's only one coat on the nails that I did for my first set that I showed you. Yeah, one layer and they are full coverage. Super opaque. Yeah, love that. Love that. Love a one coat polish. And then for the white, I use the Nail Art Gel Liner. You can use regular gel polish if you want. You can use, I wouldn't suggest like a thick gel because the way I do it, but you can use a gel polish or like a liner gel or like not a thick liner gel, but like a little bit of one that gives you a little bit of time to work. And I'm going to be using the Diamond Top Coat, the rubber base gel, and then I may use the base coat as well. I don't generally use this, but I have it out just in case. I know that I use the rubber base coat to make the polka dot nails a little bit more smooth because they are dots, they hover a little bit. So I do use the rubber base gel just for a little bit of a thicker layer over top of the polka dots. But yeah, this is all the stuff that I use as far as polishes go. And as far as like tools go, I have my brushes from Bling Galleria. They have a 15-piece brush set. I think it's 15, 10 or 15 pieces. I'm using the liner brush, and then I use this to fill in the square. Mine's more of like a rectangle-ish square. It's like not quite square square, but close enough for me. Stamps can be rectangle too. So whatever shape I decide to go with on that nail, I use these for the set. All right, and then I think this is the same size dotting tool that I used on my other set, but I put all my tools away and cleaned up my desk, and now I can't remember which one I used. It was either this one or it was this one, but they are so close and they are on separate hands. So ultimately, does it matter? They are very similar. Ultimately, does it matter? No, but it is what it is. A dotting tool of your choice because I don't make perfect dots with my liner brush. And then last but not least, the Satin Carving Gel. This carving gel is amazing. It not only is it super pretty and pearly, it does not stick to my gloves. Like there are some gels that stick to your gloves, and I don't know about y'all, but that is the most annoying thing. Like I'm hot right now because my husband has the fire going. I don't know if you can hear the crackling in the background, but yeah, look, like hot, 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 hot. My hands are hot. Like rolling it around, it's not sticking. And I use nitrile gloves, not latex. So I don't know about latex gloves. It might stick to them, but like not sticking to my gloves. So we're gonna use this to play around with, and it's super pretty too. Like look at that pearl shine, super pretty. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get started. Like I said, that set took me 4 hours to do. Oh, I also forgot one more thing that we're gonna use. Until I get another primer from Bling Galleria, I'm going to use my cheap one from Model 1s to prime my tips because I don't want to do a base coat on them. I'm going to use a primer to help the gel stick to my nails because after I'm done with these nails, I'm going to glue them on for Valentine's Day. So, yeah, these are going to be my Valentine's Day nails. I'm not sure when I'm going to glue them on, but yeah. So that is everything. We're going to go ahead and create this set. So, yeah, now that I've yapped for about 12 minutes, I'm going to switch to voiceover and get started on the set. So, yeah, stick around if that's something you're interested in. All right, welcome to the voiceover. So, we are going to get started with just the base colors. So, the base colors are Pink Nightie, Sheer Fantasy, and Cherry Glaze. Those are the three that I just decided looked the best. They are also all from the new release. So, they're all brand new to Bling Galleria as of this video. Now, I've got the set laid out on the palette that I showed in the beginning, and I'm just going to put that off to the side so I can kind of reference back to it. And yeah, first we're gonna start with cherry glaze because I'm gonna start from the pinky and go to the thumb. So I'm gonna go in the order that it is on the palette, the order it is in front of me from left to right. I don't know, it just seems like it works that way, the way that way best for me. So I have been using this primer for the extensions just on the base because I feel like it just gives them something sticky. Now I do plan on getting another Bling Galleria primer, a separate primer just for etching the tips because I don't want to use them if I do anything on my natural nails because then it will have like some of the gel or whatever from the tips, the resin that's used to make them or whatever. Or if I use plastic tips, I just want to have a separate tip etching primer and a separate primer for when I do my own nails. So I only have one for doing my own nails at the moment. So I use my cheaper one for the tips. So now we're going to get started with our base colors. So yeah, that stand being out like that was bothering me, so I had to fix that. So if it was bothering you too, it is fixed now. And like I was saying in the beginning, these few colors, this one and the other really the darker opaque one are one coat coverage. I only do one coat of them on the nail. And I just wanted to leave this layer. I left some of it in real time as much as I could, but as you see, this video is like really long. But I'm gonna try to figure out what parts to leave in and what parts to kind of take out. Um, this was only one hand, and I feel like I kind of took out as much as I could for the most part because it was like something like over I recorded over like 2 hours. But anyway, I took out as much as I could. We are here at this whole set. Let me know what your favorite part was. The sculpting starts at I think later. I think something like 40 minutes or so. It starts at almost like 40, 45 minutes is where the sculpting starts. So if you want to skip there and you're just interested in that part, you can skip there. But we're going to do the base colors. This is Sheer Fantasy. It's like a really sheer, like a light pink color, like it's a nudie pink color. One coat is super, super pretty. I use two coats on this ring finger because the ring finger is the one that has the stamp on it. Now, looking back at the set as a whole, I really wish I would have done the cat eye over this nail as well because I really like that shimmer underneath the flower and the bow. I really think it just would have like tied everything together. And then like looking back at the whole thing, there are a couple things I would have done different, but Yeah, definitely wish I would have paid a little more attention when I was doing this because I'm doing the voiceover after editing the clips and stuff, and after obviously doing the video itself, but you'll see when we get there what I'm talking about. But also something about doing the primer on all of the nails, the lint seems to come out of thin air. It just flies from everywhere and just ends up on the nails. So doing the primer on all of the nails all at once, I do it most of the time, but sometimes I work really slow one nail at a time and I'll put primer on one nail, wait for a minute or 30 seconds or so, and then I'll paint it one nail at a time because as you'll see, I get some little lint pieces and they are a lot to wipe out. Some they stick in there really good. So yeah, don't worry about the edges. We're gonna file those at the end, so I'm not really too worried about it. I got a rough shape when I was doing my filing in the beginning. By the way, these are the Soft Gel XV Sculpted Medium Stiletto tips, in case you were wondering. They are not as medium, like, as I am used to from other brands. Like, I usually use a Painted Desert medium stiletto, and they are longer than these. These are a short medium stiletto. Shorter medium stiletto, but anyway, that's what they are in case you're interested. Um, they fit nice. I like them. They're very comfortable stiletto length. I like to file the tip just a little bit rounded because stilettos are a tad on the sharp side and I have injured myself a few times. So I like myself a pointy almond or a rounded stiletto. Those are my favorite shapes and I really tend to gravitate towards those the most. But just in case you're wondering which tips these were. So now I'm just doing a base layer and curing each one at a time. Now I'm gonna do pink nightie. Pink nightie is gonna go on the index finger. It's gonna be the other polka dot nail. And like I was saying, this one is the other one that's like super opaque. I love a good one layer gel polish, one coat polish. I'm here for that. I will do two layers regardless if I'm using a matte top coat or if I'm gonna if I'm gonna use a matte top coat because I just feel like it helps it to be just more opaque because matte top coat is the shower of all things. So yeah, I use two layers then no matter what the polish is, just because I feel like for me, I just do. But they only need one coat, so I only do one coat. And here's where I'm talking about the lint. It just sticks in there. As you'll see, we have a time with it. This lint on this nail. It took me a long time. I think it took me some stupid like 5 minutes to get this one nail right. But I'm going across the nail and I'm making sure that there is no pooling at the cuticle, there is no bump at the free edge tip, because sometimes when I'm doing an almond or a stiletto, I'll get that little hump at the tip of the nail, and that is so irritating to me. So just when I'm doing, or just in general, just really any shape, but I really stick to the almond and stiletto. And I've noticed that if I don't pay attention to the tip of the nail, that I can get that bump. And I just really like to pay attention, especially doing press-ons with that. Now, I have been doing a little bit more press-on content, I guess. I'm kind of playing around with all of it because I want to be able to do the art that I want to do. And like I had said, I wanted to play around with the other hand because just pulled some random images together and I really wasn't sure how it was going to look. And then when I got to playing with the colors, I was noticing that I was not liking how the stripes were looking on that index finger. So I went and did the polka dots on the two nails, and I really thought that it looked really kind of cute together. So sometimes it's just easier because I can also put the set down and I can do whatever I'm going to do as well. Because 4 hours, it's a long time to just kind of be sitting there, and I have little kids and stuff that kind of need my attention sometimes, so I have to be able to get up. So if it's something simple, I'll try to do the content on my own hands or I'll do it um, after they go to bed. But as far as like this type of content, it's a lot easier and more freeing to be able to do the press-ons because I can glue them on and take them off the same way that I would if it was an extension on my hand. Because I've been using my peel base underneath. So yeah, I really like doing it that way. It's just a lot more freeing as far as like creativity wise and stuff like that as well. So yeah. So right now we're doing the second layer on the ring finger that has the stamp on it. And I will show the comparison after it does cure, the 2 layers versus the 1 layer so that you can kinda see the difference. Now the 1 layer looks really good, by itself, but I wasn't really gonna leave it plain. I'm putting the cat eye over it, so I wasn't really too concerned with how opaque it was because the cat eye was just gonna shine anyway. So here are the base colors, and they are actually showing true to color as they are on my end as well. So on camera, they're showing like true to color. So that is amazing. I am absolutely loving the camera on this phone. It's so pretty. I'm also zoomed in as well. I'm just my first video with this new phone, so playing around with like zoom and how far away I have to be from the camera. This color is Wink My Way. It is also new. It's from the Valentine's Day release. It is also an ultra formula, so it's a super safe formula from the newer line of the ultra formulas that have no methacrylates in them. Um, Wink My Way is a rose goldish cat eye with a gold, so like a silvery gold champagne cat eye to it. It's really, really pretty. And I did leave, like I said, most of it in real time as I could. I sped this up just the tiniest bit because it was getting to be like I already saw how long the video was, and I tried to speed up or cut out as much as I could. But if you wanted to follow this design at all, if you were interested in any of the techniques, whether it be cat eye, polka dots, any of like the 3D bow, the 3D flower, how to do a stamp made easy, any of that, I just kind of left it in here to kind of make it a little bit easier. This magnet is also from Bling Galleria. It's a newer released magnet. It's the one that has the ball on the end to do that little cat eye aura in the center, like the circling around the nail and get just the cat eye in just the center. It works really, really good for that. And it is really strong when you pull out the particles from the side. All right, so now I've got the particles kind of like all over. I just wanted like a little velvety, bring out the particles look. I wasn't really looking for anything like super precise. I really just wanted the particles to just be out so that it would shine when I rotated my nail. I wasn't really looking for any particular look or anything specific. I just kind of went with just like a standard cat eye design. And then here is the difference in the one layer and the two layers, just so that you kind of have an idea of the difference in color. Just a little bit more opaque on that second coat. But for the middle finger and the thumb, we're going to do the same design as far as like the base coat. I'm just going to apply it all over the nail, and then I'm going to use the cat eye magnet to pull out the particles. You can really do whatever design you want, really. Um, it just kind of was something I just decided to add to give it a little bit of sparkle. I am in a cat eye phase. I have been in this phase for, I'd say, about a good year now. I don't know what it is about cat eyes. I used to just be a platinum glitter gel person, like that was all I would use. But now I've expanded to doing like cat eyes on everything. I think everything can be a cat eye and shifty. So I really think that that is a super, super pretty look. And I've just been trying to add a cat eye in wherever I can on pretty much every set. So yeah, and if I try my best to sometimes not include one, but there a cat eye can fit in every set. I don't know. I just love a cat eye. For me, that's just something I really enjoy. Cat eyes, chromes, flakes. I'm really loving the specialty gels and um things to play with. So yeah, doing the same thing, just kind of pulling out the particles in just a random design, just kind of give like a velvety look across the whole nail. But this one is going to have the flower on it, so it ultimately doesn't really matter. I just wanted to pull out some of it to have a little bit of sparkle. And then even if you don't magnetize the gel, even if you just paint it on the nail, the cat eye polish is beautiful in itself. It's a nice sparkly gel polish. So even if I didn't magnetize anything, it would still be really pretty. But yeah, that's just kind of like the general gist of the color. I like it to shimmer, float around a little bit. But yeah, all of the bases of the nails are done now, and we are going to go into the polka dots next. So, like I said in the beginning, I wasn't sure which dotting tool I used. Now, for the life of me, I could not remember. I just could not remember. So, I ended up using the white one because it was a little bit smaller, but I don't even think that was the right one. I think I used a different one because the dots looked bigger than they did on the other hand. But like I said, the hands are gonna be far apart. Nobody's gonna look at the hands together, and if they do, so what? You know what I mean? The dots are a little bit bigger, but when I tell you, I got all of these dots on both nails in one take. I struggled so hard with that first set, doing all the dots in one take. I can't even tell you how many times I wiped off the nail. But I was able to do all of these in one take. Now, some of the dots are a little bit bigger, but I think that the key to doing them is focus and stability because once I locked in on doing the dots, I just kind of put my focus there, and I was really it was quiet because then the other time I was doing it was also like during the day. So it was like different times and whatnot, but I was also watching a movie and the movie had some jump scares in it. So I was like, you know what? I got to pause the movie while I do these dots. So I think that focus and then not being scared to mess up was kind of key for that. I already went into this set knowing that the polka dots were going to take me forever, even though it seems like, yeah, they're not that hard. It's really an easy design. I really wanted them to be about the same size and evenly spaced throughout the whole nail. And I don't know why that's so difficult, but the other hand took me a really long time because of that. And then with this one, it wasn't too bad. So I got both of them done um, relatively quick. I left this one in real time so that you could see how long it took me to do the polka dots. But the other one, I'm pretty sure I speeded up a little bit just so that you don't have to sit through another whole hand of polka dots. But basically, all I'm doing is I am using my dotting tool, dipping it into the gel polish, and then dotting it onto the nail. Like, it's not supposed to be as hard as I made it seem the last time. So, pretty simple. And when like I had the other set off to the side, but like when I looked at it after the fact, I was like, these dots that I just did are way too big. So yeah, I just went with it. So I'm like, okay, these dots are way too big and they are already cured on the nail. So we're just going to rock with it. And the other hand has to be this big as well. But it turned out pretty well. So I will let you watch me do the polka dots on the other hand and I will be right back. right. So I just want to go in one last little time and make the dots just a little bit um, bigger, just kind of make sure they were in the right spot, make sure everything was kind of the right size. And yeah, that went pretty well. I was pleasantly surprised that it only took one try for each nail. So now we have our polka dots done. Those nails are pretty much done, except for a rubber base and a little bit of filing and then a top coat. So now I figured while I already had the gel out on the palette, I would go ahead and work on the stamp nail. Now, your stamp can be a square, can be a rectangle, can be a circle if you want. I just went with the same school. I think this one was more square than the other one was. Um, could have been a little better, sure, but here's the technique to do the stamp. I broke it down a little simpler, a way that my mind could make it work. So I started with the shape of choice, which in this case was like a square rectangle shape. Um, whatever your shape is, start with your shape, color it in just the base shape color, because when you add the white dots, you'll see kind of how it all comes together. So you want the shape to be a little bit bigger than you would have it be, like a little bit bigger than you want the inside to be at the end of it, because if you make it the exact size, you're going to have it be smaller when you go to do the white part. So the insides were about the same size, so here's where I should have made it just a little bit bigger. But all I did was kind of straighten out the edges, and then I give it a full cure. Then after I do the cure, that's when I go in with the white. I just feel like I am I guess, a nervous painter. I do flash cure a lot. I do full cures a lot. If I am nervous that I'm going to lose my work or something is going to mess up, I give it a cure because I can't just do the same line over and over. If I make one eyebrow perfect on my characters or one line perfect for the nose or an eye or something and it's really difficult and I struggled a little bit, I will flash cure it or I will full cure it so I make sure it does not go anywhere when I attempt my second line, because then if I mess up my other line, then I have to erase both. So I'm a nervous curer, but also I didn't want the white to mix in with the pink, so I go ahead and I give that a full cure. And while that is curing, I am going to go ahead and I'm going to put the rubber base layer on the polka dot nails, because I'm gonna file them a little bit, and then the polka dots, as you see, they're a little bit raised, so I want them to be flatter. So I'm going to add that rubber base layer to be able to file to give them an even out layer, etc., etc. It'll make them just flat and ready for top coat. Now I'm going to use the line gel, the line art gel from Bling Galleria to do the dots. Now we're using that same dotting tool that we use to keep the dots throughout the set more cohesive. So I'm going to take the dots and I'm going to do all all of the dots on the edges. I'm going to start in the corner and then I'm going to try to space the dots out evenly throughout the sides. It ended up being like you want the dots to be half, I'd say about one third on the nail and two-thirds, or one third on the color and about two-thirds off, almost 50-50 if you wanted to do that kind of a split. It's all about how big you want the little humps on the edge of the stamp. So that's personal preference. If you want them more circular, more circly, then do them further out. But if you want them to be like a half circle, do it 50% on, 50% off. And then before you cure, just draw a line at the bottom of them and you see how it's kind of bringing in the stamp look. That's just how my mind worked to be able to get the stamp look. Now, I'm pretty sure you can do it the opposite way. You can do the line around first, and then you can do the dots on top. But this is how my mind processed doing this. I'm sure the other way works just as good, but I did not do it that way. My mind said this way, so this is kind of how I did it. And then if there are any um, bumps or humps or lumps or whatever you want to call them on the outside of the stamp that you'd like to make bigger, you can do it then. I also wanted to round the inside of my stamp so they didn't have any corners. I wanted more of a rounded look. So I went in and I just kind of did that. And then once I was happy with that, I just gave that a full cure. I just made sure to fix any of the dots on the outside that I kind of wanted a little bit bigger. Um, it could have looked a little bit more clean, but hey, it was fun. It was kind of cutesy. It kind of went with the set. So I was like, hey, it's fine. It's fine. So we'll give it a full cure, and then it is going to be ready to add the G. So I just use a little bit of rubber base and I put the G onto the nail. Now it's not really going to stick up because it's more of a flatter, it like a kind of a flat surface just in that area, I guess. So I'm just going to give it a cure and I'm just going to lock that in place once I get it set in the center of that pink spot. I made it a little smaller than on the other nail, and I was looking at it as I was placing it. That's why I'm kind of off screen. I was kind of comparing it, but ultimately it fit and it worked. So as long as it fit into that little spot in the stamp area, I thought it was fine. And once I get the placement right, I go ahead and I just give it a full cure, and then it will be set until we do the rubber base coat and then the glitter on top. I should have done the glitter and then the rubber base coat, just because it would have just been easier. But now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna wipe off the nails with the isopropyl alcohol. These nails have rubber base on them. The two cat eye nails that are sitting there, I'm not gonna do anything with those. I'm just gonna top coat those because they don't need any filing or anything. They are fine. And then this one, I remember had like a little issue on the cuticle area and on one of the sides, one of the free edge sides, it had like a little bit of a bump on the bottom, and then the cuticle line wasn't quite as even as I wanted it to be. So I just wiped it off and I went ahead and gave it a little filing. I really love these thin files. They're really thin 100 180 grit zebra files. They're the really skinny ones, and I love those. I've loved those since I was a kid. Just personal preference. Then I went and I filed the other nails. I was off camera, new setup, new phone, all of that. So I did not include the other nails, but I went ahead and just filed them. So I crisped the shape back up. So the polka dot nails are ready for top coat. They're just kind of hanging out waiting for everything else to get top coated. And I'm going to put the glitter over the G so that it matches the A on the other hand and just give it a little pizzazz. I feel like it just needed a little bit of sparkle. This is the Platinum Gel Hot Jazz. Um, it worked fine, I guess. I mean, I couldn't really tell that it was a G. I should have made it more G looking, but looks enough like a G for me. It's not a C because you can kind of see like the tail and it's like, I don't know. It's not quite a C, but it's also not quite a G, I guess. But I just followed the letter that was underneath of it. And then once I have that all how I wanted, traced nicely within the lines, wipe off whatever I don't want, I go ahead and I give that a full cure. And then once have fully cured that, I'm going to do a rubber base on top of that, and then I will make sure that the shape looks good, and then I'll do a top coat for that one. But while that one is in the lamp, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to top coat everything else because the rest of the stuff is ready for top coat. Now, I like to work with my carving gels or my sculpting on top of a top coat because I just feel like that just works best for me. And I lock the design in at the end with the top coat on top, and it locks everything in. So, no worries there. Everything is top coated. I could leave the set just like this, but we are going to do the 3D sculpting. So I have a silicone mat and it got really dirty with all the filing and stuff. So I like to use this lint roller that I have to clean off my silicone mat. And it works amazing. Instead of wasting all my alcohol and a paper towel and just getting all the dirt off and dust off that way, I just use my lint roller and it cleans the surface off really well and picks up all of the dust that has lingered behind. So now we are going to do some 3D carving. And I was right in the beginning about the 40 minutes, 40 to 45 minutes. So we're going to start the sculpting. Now I wanted to show you that this does absolutely not stick to my gloves at all. So it is non-sticky 3D modeling. It is chromable. It is non-wipe. You don't have to put a top coat on it at the end, but I feel like I would because I like to have it be shiny. I like to not stain it since it is white. Just having something white without a top coat is just like asking for problems. But yeah, my gloves are Nitrile Gloves. They are linked in my Amazon storefront under DIY must haves, DIY nail must haves. That's the album that it's in. But yeah, they did not stick to my gloves at all. As you can see, and if you are going to be sculpting using any kind of gel, please make sure that you're wearing gloves. You do not want to develop any allergies or anything like that. So yeah, the gloves that I know for sure that do not stick with any no non-stick gels stick to them are the ones that I'm wearing now. I've tried a couple of brands and these are the ones that I like. They're like Schneider, I think, or something like that. But yeah, they stick to my silicone tool, but I just use a little bit of isopropyl alcohol to play around and move it around on the nail, and it works fine. These silicone tools, I got them I think from Amazon. Any silicone tool will work. It just personal preference. I like the one with the point. There are some smaller ones that I use, but this is the one that I always go back to. You can use different tools. It's just whatever you feel like helps. There are a couple of ones that I want to try. Like I've seen people use like the science ones you can use for the stainless steel ones you can use for science, but I just stick with the silicone and the alcohol because it's cheap and it works. So I was gonna try to do the tail with the one like I did for my other heart. So for my other heart, I did the heart side and then I did the tail, and it worked really great. I think it was because of the pressure of not being on camera. But this one, I just do the heart. And y'all, I did not even realize at this point yet that I did the nail upside down. I did the heart on this nail upside down, the whole bow. I literally did the entire bow. I'm talking the bow, the dots, everything. And I almost top coated it on the nail that way until I looked over at my other nail and I was like, there's no way that I just did this whole thing. But anyway, you get to see how I made it. I left this footage in because I wanted you to see how I made the design, and I wanted to let you know that it is fixable. So even though I do make the design upside down, it is still fixable. So I'm gonna go ahead and give the one side a flash cure on the nail. Now, like I said earlier, we did the design on top of the top coat, and it's sticking onto the nail, yes, but at the end, when you've sculpted everything the way that you like it, you have to secure it onto the nail with some kind of gel, whether it be a rhinestone glue, a no wipe top coat, one of the two. You have got to secure it onto the nail with something, because otherwise, if you don't, you're going to see how easy it is for me to peel off this design and put it the right way, which I am thankful for because then I did not have to make a whole nother bow. But yeah, I was like, what in the heck is happening? But anyway, I wanted to make the bow a little bit thicker than I did on the other nail just because I liked how I did it on the nail that I showed in the beginning on my tortoise one that I did back in the fall. I really liked how that bow turned out and I kind of wanted to replicate that more. I didn't quite get the exact look in either bow that I was going for, but I came close, and I think that I just like the heart bow. I don't know what it is about the heart bow. But basically, you just make two hearts and then you put the strings down. And it's not too terribly hard. Sometimes it can get kind of frustrating and you have to pull the gel off and rework it and then put it back on. Sculpting just really takes time and patience and completely zoning in and dialing into what you're doing. It's like one of those, if I need to really zen on something, I'll go sculpt something because it takes all of my focus and I can't really have my mind split onto something else because then I'm not focusing on really what I'm doing here. But once you're happy with the design, I definitely recommend flash curing or full curing before you start the other side, because if you start the other part of your sculpting and you haven't cured the other side, then it's possible that either one, you could mess up the second part that you're doing, or that you could accidentally bump the other side while you're turning the nail around and you will mess up the design and have to redo the whole thing. So we want to save our time and save our progress. It's like saving your game in the middle of it, just in case your power goes out. So, if you know what I'm talking about. When you could like force save games, now the games like auto save, or if you're typing a document in Word. I remember when I was in college one time and I forgot to save my essay and my battery died on my laptop and it was not saved and I about fell out because it was like I was like 4 pages into my 10-page paper and none of it was saved. So these days, thankful for autosave, but that's kind of what I refer back to when I'm worrying about flash curing. If I don't cure this now, there's a chance that I might lose all of it. So there's nothing wrong with flash curing. Get yourself a little flash cure light or throw your hand in the lamp for about 5 seconds or so. It doesn't take long just to lock it in place so that if you do mess up, it's not as detrimental to repair. Sometimes it'll stay exactly, and sometimes it will budge just a small bit, but better than if you did nothing. So, when I'm making these bows, I like to roll everything down into like little snakes and little ropes because it makes it easier to pick up. And I found that picking it up with that silicone tool just was not where it was at. So I just decided to pick it up with my hands and the gloves and then just kind of use a silicone tool to just kind of guide everything in place where I wanted it to be. And there is no method to this ribbon madness. It's just however you envision a ribbon flowing, you do whatever design you want to do with the ribbon. There is another ribbon design that I'm going to play with, but there are so many different things to sculpt and ways to do it. It's all just really what you like. So play around with it until you're happy, and then whenever you are, give it a cure. Pretty much what I did. And if your tool is starting to stick to the clay, just give it a little bit of isopropyl alcohol. I use 70% usually when I'm sculpting because 91 just dries way too fast. So it'll dry before I get it onto the sculpting gel. So yeah. But this sculpting gel is already white. So sometimes if they have like colors, you might just want to be careful with how much alcohol you're using on the sculpting gel because it could turn it white or like stain it or something. So if you have a color and you're sculpting with that color and you want it to stay that color, just be careful with the amount of alcohol you're using because it can dry out the clay and make it turn white. All right. So didn't film the other strand on the bow apparently, but I did do it. As you'll see in the end, I did do that one, but we're moving on to the flower. So I really thought the flower that I did initially was super cute, super small, but I was like, what if I made it like a little bit bigger and I tweaked it just a little bit, made the ends a little bit pointier? Wonder if it would look all right. So yeah, that's what I did. I just like to start off with when I'm making a flower, I like to start off with equal parts and I always make them in balls, like make the ball and try to make them the same size so that the petals will be relatively the same size when you're doing the flower. And then that's really all it takes. I mean, you can pretty much watch and see how I do them. This one wasn't really sticking, so I just used a different one, just push it onto the nail. Not a big deal. It's gonna stick, but not stick and stay for days of wear. So that's why I'm saying at the end to secure it. Even if it's a non-wipe, I still would always secure it anyway, even if I just go around the edge. But also, putting the top coat gives it a better shine. So you don't have to, but I would definitely suggest at least going around the edges and doing it that way. But I'm not curing these three because they're relatively easy and they're really not touching each other. So once I get them done, I will cure these three together and then I will do 3 more flower petals. So ultimately, um, the flower can be 4 petal, 5 petal, you can do 6 petals, you can do an orchid, you can do different flowers with this design. It's the same idea, just different placement. If you want to go back to the beginning and see the flower, the other flower that I did, it was only a 4 petal flower. I usually do a 4 petal flower just because for me it's easier for my mind to work with that. Sometimes I will do a 5 petal, but more than likely I'm gonna do 4 petal. That's just my go-to flower. But I'm gonna be trying to do different types of flowers this year, playing with different colors, different designs, and stuff like that. So I figured I would try a different flower since 4 is what I go for usually. I've done 5 petals, so I was like, let's just do 6 petals for this design. So let's go for it. And then this one I kind of found out. I was like, oh, that's kind of cute. I kind of like that. But my problem came in when I needed to do the other side. Now, I really try to make my flowers match as much as I can. So symmetry is something also that I'm working on to make one side look like the other because symmetry is so difficult. I don't know why, but making things the same on both sides is a little bit difficult. But all in all, I mean, flowers, they grow that way naturally. And then sometimes they're not as even as you think they are when you look really up close. But I think it turned out really cute. The tips were a little bit further than I would have wanted, and I should have done a couple of leaves on them. But all in all, I think the flower turned out super cute. Once you're happy with the flower design, give it a full cure in your lamp so you can lock everything in place. If you happen to mess up like you're about to see that I do right now, I was just playing around with this petal too long and I was like, you know what, it's not really turning out the way that I want. So I kind of just ball it up on the nail versus taking it all the way off. And then I restart with flattening it back out so that I can get a better shape. Now, I don't have to take it all the way off the nail because I just need it to be balled up back to start back in the beginning in square one. So I just ball it back up, shove it back in, go back to the beginning, and then end up making it the way that I want it the second time. And then once I'm happy with that, I give it a little flash cure and then I put it in the lamp because I don't want anything to bump. I don't want anything to move. I just lock everything in place just so that nothing moves while it's working its way to the lamp. So flash cure it, put it in, let it do its full thing, and then we're going to do a little bit of painting on it like we did for the other flower. But in the meantime, while that's curing, we are going to put dots all the over this one, and I still didn't realize it yet, but I'm going to let the music play while I color these, and you guys can just kind of watch what I do from here. It's pretty self-explanatory, so I'm gonna let you guys just watch for a minute since I have been yapping basically like this whole video, and let you guys just kind of watch the process. If you have any questions about these parts, just put them down in the comment section. But yeah, go ahead and watch me do this, and I'll come back to fix my mistake.
Cannot believe that. The bow is upside down. That's why it looked so funny. Like, that's not gonna work.
All right, so now we get to the part of fixing my boo-boo. So like I was saying earlier, the gel is stuck to the nail, but not like so stuck that I can't peel it off, which is why I do it on top of a top coat. This is how the bow is supposed to be on the nail. This way. I don't know why I didn't see that until I literally got there. And you see, I was just about to top coat it and lock it on, and I just realized that. I was like, what the heck? No way. So, anyway, I went ahead and I just kind of played with it just to make sure that it would fit. Otherwise, I was going to have to redo the entire bow. So I just decided to make it work. And it was super cute. It just needed to be flipped the other way. And I used some of Bling Galleria's rhinestone glue gel. And I just put it on the back of the bow, and I put a little bit of primer first. As you see my primer there, I didn't show putting that on, but I put a little bit of the primer on the back so that it would stick a little bit, so that I could kind of place it where I wanted and see how I liked it, just for placement purposes, but not to stick it to the nail for good. But I decided to use the rhinestone glue gel because it is also no wipe. It is made for this type of thing. It's technically now a charm that I made. So I'm just going to stick it back on the nail. I'm going to press it down. I'm going to flash cure it on. Then I'm going to give it a full cure. I don't I do just a little bit of the strings, but not all of them just yet because I do need to cut the bottom part of them off. So I just basically focus on the loops of the bow and I try to focus on the top half and I press it down, give it a flash cure, and make sure that everything is kind of curing in place because I really don't want them to snag when I wear them. I'm going to put them on for Valentine's Day. So I really don't want them snagging on anything on my hair more than anything. So now that I've got them cured in place, kind of where I want them, I'm going to cut the tails that hang off the nail just a little bit. And then I'm going to take some more of that rhinestone glue gel and I'm going to slide it up under there and I'm going to give them a full cure. Well, I'm going to flash cure them down and then I'm going to throw it in the lamp and give it a full cure. And then after I have given this nail a full cure, I'm going to put top coat on top of the nail just to lock in the gel polish dots that I did, lock in the pearl and the glitter gel on top of it, just pretty much seal in the whole design. Those other three nails are already done. We're just finishing up these nails. And this video would have been a lot shorter had I not messed up the bow like I did. And I just kind of wanted to show you that on camera, how I fixed it and how I kind of made it work. Is it perfect? No, but in reality, it works. It can be done. If you do it with another charm and you just put it on the wrong way or you don't really like it, it also is semi-flexible, so you can still put it onto the nail a different way and just press it down to make it mold to the nail the way that you want it to. It's not all lost if you were to do it this way, which is why I suggest doing it over top coat because you can always lock it in at the end, even if you lock it in with rhinestone glue. You can lock it in at the end, but just in case you do mess up, or in case I mess up, this is why I do it this way. Just something that I learned because I've locked my charms in and I've done it the other way where I have done it on top of like a base coat or something like that, and it just doesn't pop off. So had to restart or ruin the nail. Lots of things. So I just like to do it this way because it, like I was saying, it's also less stressful for me. So if I mess up, I'm not really like super upset about it. But that's the only reason why this video extended that much further was because I wanted to show you how I fixed it. Right now, I'm just kind of top coating everything. This is the final step. Um, I really do wish that I would have used caviar beads in the center instead of that, or something in addition to that pink in the middle. I just think it's too pink in the center. Looks a little bit better in person, but on video, I think it just pulls too pink. I should have threw in the gold caviar beads like I was really thinking about doing for the centers instead of that, but I didn't do it on the other nail, so I wanted to keep them consistent. But I do have a super fun set in my mind that I'm kind of thinking of. But anyway, that will be for next time. But yeah, this is my Valentine's Day set. I may or may not have it up for Valentine's week or the week before. I think I'm going to put this one up next week because Valentine's Day, I think, is next Saturday. So I think I'm going to make this video go up um, next week, the week of Valentine's Day. We'll just say that. And by then, I will be wearing them. So it will be fitting. It will be great. I don't have a video in the end of me wearing them, but I do plan on putting them on. I recorded this just a little bit early so that I could have it up in time because if I wait till the last minute, it doesn't get done on time. And then I really didn't want to miss the set having it up for Valentine's Day. So it will be up the week of Valentine's Day, and this is my Valentine's Day set. So yeah. Also with the top coat, you can use a silicone tool to pick up any excess around the edges, but you do want to make sure that you do get the gel around the edges where the charm is touching the nail for this particular design because you don't want the charm to pop off, and it will more than likely if you don't seal it to the nail. So, or as part of it will peel up or whatever, but I've never had any problems. I can wear my nails, what, I'd say 2, 3 weeks or so. I've worn a set like 2.5 weeks, because I just got really busy with some flowers on them and they stayed fine. So as long as you seal them to the nail and seal the edges, then you should have no problems. But yeah, now I'm just going to do the same thing with the bow, and I'm just going to run along all of the tops of them, all of the edges, sides, make sure it's not super flooding. Because when I like to seal my stuff in, I really don't like it to be puddling up and pooling up and stuff like that. Um, like, I understand it has to be that way with some charms and whatnot, but I really don't like to have globs of top coat on the nail. For me, I don't find that appealing. I do know that sometimes it has to go on certain charms or whatever, but I like to try to make my top coat as thin as I can and still as aesthetically pleasing as possible, but also functional and durable. And I do know that I do use my hands very roughly, so I need them to stay on. And yeah, I just don't like the look of the pooling gel. So I really try to do it really thin and then wipe off any excess that I need to. But I like going with the liner brush because I feel like it just gives me the best control over the amount of top coat that I'm using, and it works really well. It gives me the globs that I need, gives me the coverage that I need, and then I just clean up any excess either with a cleanup brush or with a silicone tool. I just kind of clean everything up at the end before I throw it in the lamp. I don't do any flash cures when it comes to this part. I just kind of do it all in one swipe. So you'll see some pooling in the ribbon things hanging out the bottom of the bow, but I do clean all that up before I put it in the lamp just so that I can have them not pooling. But personal preference, you do whatever you feel comfortable with. This is just some tips and tricks that I found that work for me, stuff I've learned over the years. And yeah, this is kind of how I do it to make it work, to stay, to look really pretty. And I never have any pop offs, never have any charms pop off, never have any issues really. Just learning, watching other YouTubers and stuff like that. If you guys want to drop some of your favorite YouTubers down in the comments that do nails, yeah, drop them down in the comments. I'd love to follow them, subscribe to their channels, support them, watch their channels, watch their videos, watch their content. I watch nails when I do nails most of the time if I'm not watching a movie or something. But yeah, drop them down in the comment section. I'd love to follow some new people. But yeah, here are all of my nails in comparison. My first set compared to my second set that I did. Here's when I noticed my polka dots were just a little bit bigger, and I already knew the letter was different, but it still looks good. It just looks different, but same vibe, same thing. The bow's bigger, the polka dots are bigger, the flower is bigger. The only thing that's smaller is the letter, but it's chunkier, so I feel like it fits the vibe of the set. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think. Let me know which set you like better, whether you like the top set that I did off camera or whether you like the bottom set, whether you like what aspects were your favorites. So just let me know. Let me know what your thoughts are. Now, at first I thought about switching and putting the bow up there and moving the daintier bow to the bottom, but then I was like, you know what? I can figure that out whenever I put them on. It just is what it is. I can mix and match and really do whatever. No rules. Both my fingers on both hands are the same size, so like my pinkies are the same. my ring fingers, all those like the coordinating finger for the other hand is the same size. So I can mix and match how I want to do that. Sometimes my ring finger and my index finger can almost wear the same size. But yeah, this is what it looks like just in my studio light. And then here is with just the flash. That's what I'm talking about the cat eye. I wish I would have done it on at least the nail with the letter on it. But yeah, I love me a cat eye. I love it. But anyways, thank you guys for watching my video. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope you'll have a wonderful rest of your day. I hope you have a wonderful week. And I hope you consider subscribing. And I will catch you guys in the next video.